Hi everybody, hope you're all well. So after I did my Wars of the Roses showcase the other day, I thought why not do one for the French Napoleonics. A couple of people had asked in the comments, and I'll do one for my British Napoleonics shortly as well. So this is everything that I've done that's painted for my French. I do have obviously a load of casualty markers, but I think I've got about another 6 or 7 packs that I've got to make up and paint. So this is showing me what I need to focus on as well. So but it is actually nice to see everything out, because when you're playing a game, it's not usual to have it all on the table at once. You have reserve battalions coming on, troops are leaving the battlefield as fast as they're coming on, so it's very rare that you'd actually have all of this set out at the start. So what I'll do, I'll go through what I have, and yeah, we'll just start. So at the front here we have some Voltiguers. Now these are made up of the spare skirmishing figures that you get in things like the Perry boxes and the Warlord boxes. So I just put them on one side, and when I've got enough I just made this group here. I've got about 10 more to paint up, so I could create another small unit, but these are the only ones I've got. I don't bother setting up a separate, basing separate things within the larger battalions. I just do my Voltiguers like that, just on the wings, just so you can sort of have them there. And then I just use these ones as a light regiment. I don't bother doing, getting them to leave or anything like that. Over here we have my French engineers. These came with the La Haissant battle set, and you can, in Black Powder, either have these on their own as a small unit or attach them to a battalion, which makes them better at assaulting buildings or tearing down defences or even defending buildings. So they're just a fun thing to have. There's the man himself, there's Napoleon and his marshals, and on there, I don't know if you can actually, I'll zoom in a bit, I did actually find a map of Waterloo and then scaled it in CAD and then printed it and then put it on there. But the hardest part of that was kind of around Ney's hat, because that doesn't come off, so I had to kind of cut it and then mould it around it. So yeah, that was a bit of a pain. But that's my overall Commander-in-Chief base. That's the Perry set. There's a mixture mainly of Perry, Front Rank, Victrix and Warlord here. There might be a couple of other manufacturers, but they're the main ones. We have another command base here. This one's a little bit brutal, where the two guys coming past, the casualty down there with the having a bit of an issue with his leg. But I tried to model it so the cuirassier was actually looking at him as he went past. But yeah, that's in a weird way one of my favourite command bases, but not in a sort of, you know, joy of blood and things. I just tried to make it look realistic and not gratuitous, but I don't know if I achieved that, but I think it looks alright. And then over here we get into the first line battalions. So I'm not even going to try and remember which each one of these is, because I handily have it written on the bottom. So this is the 28th line battalion, that's the 1st battalion, and that's the 28th line battalion, that's the 2nd battalion behind them. So I'm starting at the moment to now go through and add the 2nd battalions in. So there we go. So these are, I think these ones are all Perry. These ones are a mixture of Perry and Warlord. Then behind them we have the 53rd, 1st and 2nd battalions. Now I do like to add horses into my commands. Now I've realised that I've just given the 53rd, 1st and 2nd the horses. So maybe they just had more money and the officers could have horses. But it does actually, I quite like how it looks when you get down sort of about here and then you see this guy on a horse sitting up above all the flags. I think it looks quite cool, and it also saves 2 miniatures on a base. Behind them we have the 17th line and the 13th. So I know those were the first ones I painted, which is why they've got the massive flags. And they came in the La Haissant set as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 line battalions on that side. In the middle here we've got the 2 battalions of Old Guard, who are yet to sort of do anything meaningful in any of my games. Maybe the upcoming game they will. So those are all Victrix. I've got another battalion of these to make up, which I'll be making up as a reserve unit. And then we have my Imperial Guard command base there, the officer leading his men and looking at his map, wondering where he is.
Behind him, there's another one of my command bases. That's the one I did for the Becker's Commands a few months ago. So we have the Cuirassier officer and the colonel, and they've just overrun a British position, and they're just consolidating it. Then at the front on this side, we have my old guard, Imperial Guard battery. So these are all 9-pounders. Or 12-pound? No, they're 12-pounders. And there's a howitzer as well. So that's actually the war. I think it was a couple of years ago, Warlord were doing a deal on this. And I believe you get those, got one of the commanders and a redoubtant. I think it only cost like 40 quid or something, which I thought was quite good. They're all metal. But I need to paint up some cannons just for the line battalions. At the moment, I'm just using these from the old guard. I just have a colonel there. I thought it might be handy to have one that wasn't on a massive command base, and he usually now goes with these because I can field these as their own sort of brigade, and their own battery. Behind him we have Marshal Ney leading a Lancer on his command base, and behind that we have the unit of Cuirassiers and then the unit of Lancers. And this is where I've fallen down because of my hatred of painting horses. I need to paint up more cavalry. I actually have 3 more boxes of cavalry that I can paint up. I have some chasseurs, I have 2 units of Polish Lance, but I bought those Polish Lance with the idea of doing the Red Lancers, the Dutch unit, but then Victrix released theirs, so I would think those models look a little bit nicer, so I want to use theirs. So I've got 2 units of Lancers that I haven't decided what I'm going to do with yet. So I might have to sort out painting some more cavalry, which I really don't want to do. At the front here we have, this is the Warlord set. This is Baron Leray and his flying ambulance. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. So this was from Warlord. This was a Christmas present from one of my friends, and I love this. I'm just going to pick this up. I love this model. So it comes with all these casualties. I tried to model it so we had sort of the ruts on the road from the ambulance, and we've obviously got the guy there who's taken an injury, and you've got the bloody sponge in the bucket, and then you've got the back. Now the pain with this is that the wood panelling is not moulded. Those wooden planks aren't moulded on. I had to do that freehand and paint in some of the holes, so it comes smooth. It's like a resin piece, but there's no moulded wood on the slats going down, and I'm pretty pleased with how that's come out. It's only if you get up really close you can see that it's painted on. So I love this. Now we do use this in games. There are no direct rules, but we basically say that any unit that's within 12 inches of it gets to make a rally order, just like it would on a normal commander, and on a strategy rating of 8 it removes a casualty, but just like a rally order it won't ever remove the first casualty that was put on a unit. If you roll a 6 and blunder, the ambulance is full and it leaves the battlefield. So it's just a nice little mechanic to add a little bit of flavour to a game. And I've got a couple of other things that I need to make up. Like this, I've got the Field Forge for the British, which might, I don't know, maybe I'll give a bonus to cavalry. I went to the Napoleonic Wargaming channel. Yes, he did a bit about these and what you could do to add bonuses and things like that. So it's they're useful to have. In this block here, we can start with the foreign regiments that I've put in the French army. So at the front is the start of what's going to be a complete brigade of Italians, but I've only completed 1 battalion so far, and here they are. This is the 4th Italian regiment, the 1st battalion. So these are the new Perry set. I say the new, the one that came out at the start of the year. But I will do an entire brigade of Italians. So I'm going to have 3 line battalion units. I'm going to have a skirmishing unit, and I'll maybe have a cannon in there as well. Behind them we have the 2nd Swiss. Now I realise as well actually that these are a different time period to the rest of these who are done as 1815, but I don't really care. You know, I just like to have lots of different units on the battlefield. Most of the games we play are what ifs anyway. I don't think the only one I ever really sort of reenact on a much smaller scale is La Haye-Saint. So, and it's going to let me just do some varied games. Behind them, as I say, it's the 2nd Swiss. Now that's Victrix, and that's set there. But they're all painted up, and I was considering doing the other battalion as well, but we'll see. Behind them is, who's this one? This is the 55th, 1st and 2nd Battalions. So those are just more line battalions. I think the 55th might have been, no, it wasn't another one that came with La Haison. But both of these are a mixture of Warlord and Perry. A couple of casualty figures mixed in as well, just to give some variation. And I chucked some Eagle Guards in that unit as well. And did I chuck it? No, not in that one. But overall, I've tried to vary it as much as I can, and yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the results. I mean, it would be nice to get this all out on the table in one go, but I don't really think that's going to happen. Not at the moment anyway, not until we can get a larger game going. Anyway, that's the whole of my painted French forces, minus the casualties. Hopefully in the next few months I'll get some, I don't really want to do it, but another unit of cavalry. I'll definitely get that other unit of Old Guard on, and another unit of Battalions. But overall we have 10 line battalions, 2 Old Guard battalions, light engineers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 command bases, 7 if you include the colonel, 2 units of cavalry, and because I do my batteries in the game as 2s, 1, 2, 3 batteries of Imperial Guard cannons, and an ambulance for all those French casualties. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll be doing the British one soon. So yeah, stay safe and see you all soon.